It was a disappointing start. You fought your way back in, but it will be the overwhelming emotion, I'm sure, to be disappointed with that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, disappointing, but probably the best thing is we didn't lose the game. Had a couple of chances at the end to win, but overall I think we can be a lot better than we were today. So yeah, overall disappointed with the result and the performance.
Can you explain what it was in that first half? Did you have a feeling early on that it was going to be tough?
We knew it would be tough before the game, newly promoted side, we knew it would be a tough game. So yeah, no excuses from us, I felt as though we looked a little bit lethargic at times, didn't play the way that we normally do, and you get punished in the Premier League. So the only positive is we reacted in the right way, especially second half. Created a few more chances and possibly could have nicked it, but I think a fair result was a draw.
Those changes seemed to solidify you a little bit, didn't it? Give a Millie coming on and obviously Nunez up top too.
Yeah, I think they made a big impact when they come on, all the subs, so that was a big plus for us, I suppose. They made a big impact in the game. Darwin scored, and we could have had, like I say, one or two more. So yeah, a lot to work on. I know it's only the first year of the season, but I think we wanted to start a lot better than that, but still a long way to go, and we need to improve quickly. We've got a decent 7 or 8 days now to prepare for the next game, so we need to use that as much as we can.
Did you think you might have pinched it, the contact you got on that one right at the end?
Yeah, when it was rolling, I felt as though I had a sniff and caught it quite well. I think if it was just a bit more left, I might have went in, but unfortunately, I don't know whether he touched it or just hit the bar, but yeah, fine margins. Thank you.
OK, well, Nunez off the mark in the Premier League. We can hear from his boss now. Jurgen Klopp is with Des.
You've rescued a point there today, but what did you make of the performance overall?
Yeah, best news about the game is the result, actually, that we get a point for a really bad game of my side. And so now it's a question, how can that happen? I said already to the colleagues, the attitude was not right in the beginning. Then we wanted to fight back, but then you don't find it easy anymore. The pitch was dry, stuff like this. We played really in their cards most of the time. Always when we found a bit of direction, and we ended up in front of their goal and had probably, even when we were 1-0 down, the bigger chances. Crossbar, all these kind of things. But again, result is fine. I don't think we deserve more than that. But the performance, is massively improvable.
Was there a very straightforward discussion at half-time, should we say?
Yeah. Yeah. Come on, you cannot always hug the boys. We do that usually when they deserve it in the first half. It's not that they did much. It's just you start the game in a specific way, which was opposite to how we wanted to start. Really, completely opposite. Didn't find direction, passed the ball around against their 4-4-2 in defending. When everybody was under pressure, we couldn't really break the lines. What was a clear message before the game, what we have to do. That's why you have to take the risk. We lost the balls then in these moments. So it means each challenge they won is a very positive thing for them. Each chance they have or whatever, shot on target, on a direction goal, massive. If we miss a chance here, it's a negative thing. We didn't gain the feeling. Okay, now we know how it works, so let's do it again. So it was we never had the momentum, and we could have won the game because we had then the bigger chances, obviously, but that would have been probably a bit too much today.
Their first goal, Pundit and Henderson had clashed, and that went on to the first goal. Is that something
I don't know. Was it a foul or not?
Well, it looked like it was an accidental contact, shall we say, maybe. I think it certainly wasn't. There wasn't enough to see if it was a deliberate foul, should I put it that way, I think.
Fouls don't have to be deliberate. It's not about that. I think they don't go back that far. I think that's more the thing. Fouls happen constantly. I don't know what he thought it was a harsh foul or whatever. So if it's contact in a situation where a player balls, you whistle it. It didn't. Again, this result was not about the ref or whatever. But we discussed the situation in the Premier League meeting. That the refs don't want to go that far back. I'm not sure how far it was. I don't have no real memory for that. But if it's a foul, would have been nice if it. But again, he saw it differently.
get involved because they said it was subjective, but also it was too far away. So Klopp spot on there. Can you see, though, why he wasn't in a hugging mood, Peter?
Yeah, certainly. You know, it was below par for Liverpool standards. They were far below that, weren't they? Certainly first half, and I thought it was a really good, honest interview from Jurgen Klopp. He didn't come out and defend that. He just said it wasn't good enough, and I think that was there for us all to see. If you don't match the sort of the energy, the determination of the home team, certainly on the opening day, and I think sort of going forward they couldn't get through the lines as he mentioned. I thought he summed it up perfectly.
Well, still in your bottom three?
No, it'd be interesting to see how they play in those games, you know, because they've got, certainly at home, you'd think they'd have a little bit more possession, you know, will they change the side a little bit, you know, will there be a more attacking? So that'll be the test, because those games are going to be key for them.
Bit more belief they can stick around now, Rachel?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I do a lot to consolidate that sense of belief and togetherness and that team dynamic. But absolutely right. When they're not going to dominate or when they are going to have more possession on the ball, it'd be interesting to see actually how Marco Silva sets up. Does he play with those, you know, overlapping full-backs? Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching that, and maybe out of my bottom three for now.
For now. Doesn't take you long to change your mind. Let's get some reaction then. Marco Silva is with Des Kelly.
Very much. Marco, congratulations. The game plan worked wonderfully for you. A lot of energy, very aggressive. You showed you wouldn't be intimidated as well.
No. Why should be? Of course, we have to respect the top quality they have. As I said before the match to you, they showed last season, 2 seasons ago, and they started showing again last week when they won the trophy. That is the main thing for me. We respect them, but of course we have to do our job. We have to trust on ourselves, to stick with the plan as well. We showed fantastic organisation from the start until the end of the match. The plan was clear for our players, and they did it really well. We did a great first half. Our first half was almost perfect. The way we control, the way we block, the quality they have, because even if some moments they don't decide in a collective way, they can decide in an individual way, because they have this type of players they can decide, and they do really well. Second half, because we start to come a little bit more tired, it's part of the game, the intensity they can play, but we match them every time. They had great chance from Keban. If you could score the second goal, will be probably the game completely different, but I really enjoy. Even the moment we conceded the goal after we went again, we scored the 2-1, we start to lead again the score. I have to congratulate our players, our fans as well. Fantastic atmosphere in our stadium. We like that. We have to play all together, as our fans as well, and to match our opponents.
And of course, there was a lot of talk about Mitrovic, whether he'd score in the Premier League this time as he had in the Championship. Well, we saw he did that today. He was in great form.
For me, it's not important. You know that I'm always answer to you in the same way. It's not important for me to talk. I know the quality Mitro has. I'm here to take the best from my players, and we are doing from the last season with all of them. Of course, Mitro has his own profile as a football player. We have to keep believing for him to take the best from him as well. But Mitro is not just goals. Forget, if someone thinks that Mitro is just goals, forget. The job he did this afternoon for the team, his pressure, helping the midfielders, helping the back line, and after, if you deliver for him, you'll score. I have to congratulate really him. Of course, I have to congratulate from Marek until Mitro, but I have to congratulate him because the work without the ball he did this afternoon was fantastic. And he knows that I demand this from him, and he did really well. I'm really pleased because he scored 2 goals and he deserved it.
Well, it's a long road, and you made a great start. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Marco Silva obviously delighted there, saying they matched Liverpool today. Lots to build on, Rio.
Yeah, and I think that's the one element. We all know what it's like. You go into games and you're playing against the bigger teams, and the teams you know have got more quality, they've got more experience, they're used to winning. The first thing you have to do is match them physically. Can you go in there and win the battle individually, but also as a team? And today I thought that they were more than a match for Liverpool, and they asked Liverpool, can you go at this pace from minute 1 to the 90th minute? And we were saying in here, wasn't we? Can they do this again? The first half, brilliant, energy-wise. Can they match the next 45 with it? And they did.
They didn't get all 3 points, though. Darwin Nunez involved in both of Liverpool's goals today. What did you make of his impact off the bench?
Yeah, good impact. He can't do any more. Obviously, he's been involved in both goals. I thought he led the line well. I think there's lots more to come for him. I think it's a tremendous signing, but He was a thorn constantly when he came on. I thought Harvey Elliott as well. I think he's going to have a real good season this year. I think they've talked about creativity in Liverpool's midfield. I think he's the man to bring it this year. I really do. I think he's going to be
bit of help off Adebayo there.
How important is that run across the front there?
Yeah,
he surprises the defender, doesn't he?
It's all about the timing, isn't it? It's about he's got to delay it. He can't go in there too early and be waiting. He seems to time his runs to perfection.
Defenders got this one wrong, didn't they? Ream Tosin came across, didn't call off Ream. Ream jumps for it and flicks it into the path of Nunez, but couldn't have been an easier gift, really, for Liverpool at that point. And they've been sublime, the centre-halves, until that point for Fulham.
Sorry, man. I'll just say, being a forward as well, like all three of them today, like Mitrovic, Salah, Nunez, all got off to a flying start. It's so important opening day.
Well, Liverpool's season is already underway with a win in the Community Shield last weekend over Manchester City, Leanne. How impressed were you with Jurgen Klopp's side?
Yeah, I think they finished second last year, but only based upon the fact that they obviously peaked too late, I think. But I think Darwin Nunez came on last week, was fantastic, what impact he made. And I think the thing I love about Jurgen Klopp, the players that he brings in, they fit into the Liverpool way. Luis Diaz, when he came in as well, he just fitted in seamlessly, and their strength and depth that they have is fantastic, although Klopp is usually reluctant to change the 11, isn't he? But they're definitely a team that now they're going to play with an out-and-out number 9, which I'm really looking forward to, because I think I was surprised that Mane left, but I still think, for Fulham to play against them first game of the season, I can't see Fulham getting much out of this game.
Do you think Sadio Mane will be felt as a loss after the recruitment that Liverpool have done this summer?
Yeah, he's one of the best players in the Premier League. I thought he was. His goals are so important. And, playing as a false 9 last season, I thought he did that brilliantly. So he'll be a big miss, but I think they're just different now. Leanne mentioned, they've got a typical centre-forward, a big centre-forward who loves to run the channels, who loves to run in behind. They've still got the best player in the Premier League in Mo Salah. And Diaz has been absolutely amazing. Thiago looks like he started the season brilliantly. So they've got one of the best squads in the Premier League, one of the best managers, one of the best fan bases. I think they're going to be just fine.
One of the best, but is it the best forward line in the Premier League?
Probably. I mean, it's going to be up there along with Manchester City. Obviously, them losing Sterling, they don't probably see that as a loss. They let him go to Chelsea. But I think, the fact that Lukaku's not at Chelsea anymore, they're going to be completely different. So we'll have to wait and see if Kai Havertz plays up there for Chelsea. But I definitely think they're going to be up there. And like Owen said, it'll be a little bit different, because I said before, they don't usually play with an out-and-out number 9. And they're going to provide. I mean, Trent and Robertson, the deliveries are unbelievable. I'd love to play for Liverpool. I'd fancy myself to score a good amount of goals, because their delivery is on a different level. So they're definitely going to be up there. But like I said last week, the game against Manchester City and Liverpool was absolutely brilliant. Both teams going after it, and that's exactly what I want the Premier League to be like this season. But I think Fulham, for me, it's all based upon Mitrovic, isn't it? If he can really step up. Obviously, before, when he came into the Premier League, he didn't really score as many goals as he did in the Championship. So they're going to have to be heavily reliant upon him.
Well, he had his best scoring season last season in the Championship, Alexander Mitrovic. The question is, will he get the minutes that he didn't get the last time Fulham were in the Premier League? He didn't start every game. Are you expecting to see him on that team sheet for every match this season?
Well, I think if he gets minutes, he scores goals. He's proven that. I think the biggest issue they had, Fulham, last time they were here, defensively, they were a mess. They almost put a clinic on how not to come up and be promoted. They changed the goalkeeper, I think, 3 times in the first 12 games. They changed shape, they changed the defence to a 3, to a 4, to a 5. They can't do that. They need consistency in the goalkeeping position defensively. And if they get that, I think offensively, I think they've got some firepower there. But with the players that they have, I think they're, as it stands, I think they look like one of those teams it's great that they came up, but they look like firepower-wise that they could be one that goes straight back down.
Different manager to the last time they were in the Premier League, though. Now they have Marco Silva. Will he have a bit of a point to prove after his last time he was in the Premier League?
Yeah, definitely. But I agree with Owen. I think, unfortunately, they haven't really strengthened their team. And we don't want the team to be a bit like Norwich, like a yo-yo club. And I know they don't like being called that, but in the Premier League, you have to strengthen, I think. So I think he'll obviously want to prove a point. Obviously, they went down with Scott Parker previously, but I think they need better players coming in through the door. And I've said this many times, I just don't think Mitrovic is a Premier League player. I think he's good at what he does, but for me, he isn't at the standard of the Premier League. I could be wrong, but that's just my opinion. But he's going to have to score goals for them to have any hope, for me, of really staying in the league.
How will Fulham's defence cope with this Liverpool attack, then, who everyone is raving about right now? Can you even pick a Liverpool front three, a best Liverpool front three right now?
Well, I don't think Fulham can cope with Liverpool. I don't think, well, first of all, not many teams can. So I think you want to come in and you want to find your feet and not get beat heavily. And I think that's what they'll hope for. If you can nick something, great. But I think for Klopp, he's got so much depth. You know, even Carvalho, the young lad they signed from Fulham, he's fantastic. Yeah. Harvey Elliott is back into the side. So he's got different options. And I think Klopp will drip feed them in depending on who they're playing. They'll dominate the ball. And if they're clinical, then I think Fulham are going to be in trouble.
So, Leanne, you're doing predictions at the end of the show of all of the scores from the opening weekend. But what about your season predictions? Are Liverpool going to win the title this year, or will it go somewhere else?
I still think it'll be City, but I think they'll give them a really good push. I could be wrong, but I mean, like I said, some people even tipping Tottenham to win the league, which I'm, like, confused by. The same as when people thought Chelsea were going to win the league when Lukaku went there. But football's crazy, isn't it? I mean, you can predict these things and it can be completely the opposite. But I think City, for me, will win the league.
Yeah, it's hard to look past the champions. You know, they just signed one of the best young centre-forwards in the world who scores bags of goals. So I think it looks like it's City, but Liverpool will be right there if they make a mistake.
And in terms of the top goal scorer this season, is he going to wear a Liverpool shirt? Is it going to be one of Mo Salah, Diogo Jota, Darwin Nunez, Luis Diaz?
Could be Son as well. I mean, he's always given a push, but I think for me, obviously, City creates so many chances, so I can't see past Haaland. But having said that, last week, Darwin Nunez came on and scored and did really, really well. So we'll have to wait and see. But for me, Haaland all the way, I think.
Mo Salah, it's got to be. Most goals, most assists last season. Somebody has to take that crown from him, and I don't see anybody doing that.